Hello and welcome to another edition of Ontology Talk. My name is Adam Pease, and today I wanted to do a brief video about the notion of synonyms in ontology that came up when I was having a discussion with a Sumo user. So early on in the construction of Sumo, we went through all 100,000 word senses in the WordNet lexico-semantic database, which you can think of just like a common English collegiate dictionary. We went through all of those word senses one at a time by hand and mapped them all to Sumo, and continued making updates to that mapping in the 20 years since. So let's just take a particular example mapping of the concept of pudding. Now there's a formal term in Sumo called pudding. It's a programming language identifier and has a definition in logic, but it's mapped to the WordNet lexicon. And here's what they call a syn set, a set of synonyms. And you can just think of this as a single word sense, but multiple words are synonyms in this sense of a particular sense of each of these words. So lay, place, pose, position, put, set. So the dictionary definition here is put into a certain place or abstract location. Right? And so there are multiple words that have synonymous senses that are mapped to an equivalent Sumo term of pudding. And the Sumo term pudding then has a host of formal statements, including rules that further define in a very precise and logical sense what pudding entails. So here, for example, is one of the axioms in the upper level of Sumo, and says if you're putting something and it's being put in a destination, a place, and it's a particular object that you're putting, that it holds during the start of the action that the object is not located in that particular place, but by the end of the action it is. So the very simple and general notion, but it has multiple words in English that can be used to express the same concept. So that's how we deal with synonyms in Sumo in terms of linguistic synonyms. But there's another notion as well, that we can have all sorts of different formal products, different schemas, taxonomies, knowledge graphs, things of that sort that may have different names for this notion. And not everybody, of course, is going to be compliant with using the same stuff that's in Sumo. So we have a couple of different notions here for recording those connections. So, and the central one is a synonymous external concept. So it's a relationship between a string, something in Sumo, and then a particular language or schema or a corpus. And so we might have things like a military ranking system. So in Sumo we have the notion of a U.S. military rank of O2. That's the lowest low-level officer, a first lieutenant. And in the U.S. Air Force ranking system, as a particular standard, it's called first lieutenant. Right? So we want to be able to record that we can have these different identifiers in different products and a particular unifying symbol for these different names or symbols that are in Sumo. And we also have, in addition to synonymous external concept, the notion of subsuming external concept. Right? So this would be an external concept that is more general than the Sumo term, and then we also have subsumed external concept for the other alternative. Now, WordNet is pretty big. It's as big as a collegiate English dictionary, but it's not as big as all the words that have ever been used. So let's just take a look at another case of where we needed to, in the course of doing a particular project, add a term to the lexicon. And so we don't have the power to go in and just change or add freely to WordNet, but we can augment it at least locally. And so we do that with the Sumo relation term format. So here we were doing a project about capturing some information about IT management, and we wanted to have the concept of an account. Now WordNet has the word account, But when WordNet was created, maybe online accounts weren't all that prominent. And so in WordNet 3.0, there isn't any notion of an account other than a financial account, a bank account, a brokerage account, or so forth. So we had to create a new lexical element account that could be mapped to a notion of, say, an online account, a computer account, a service account of that sort. So that's yet another way, really a third way, in which we can manage the correspondence between Sumo terms and different symbols or lexical items. Maybe one last one that I haven't mentioned, of course, is that we not only map to WordNet, but we also map to global WordNet, and that has about 26 different languages in it at this time. And so obviously we're not just limited to English, but we can also have labels in many other languages. And you can see that if you're browsing in Sumo. We've done a particular amount of work on the Chinese language and adding to that lexicon. So I hope this gave you some answers about how we manage lexical items, labels, symbols, and language and lexical elements in Sumo. Thanks for watching this edition of Ontology Talk. If you found this useful, please consider to like, subscribe, and share this video. And also you may go to ontologyportal.org where you can get a lot more information. Thanks very much.